The Garden Where Shadows Bloomed. English Story Level 3. At the edge of the town of Raventhorn lay an abandoned greenhouse, overtaken by vines and coated in layers of dust. No one dared to enter it, for people believed it was cursed. They said shadows moved inside even when no light touched the glass. But a curious boy named Imrise had no fear of stories. He loved mysteries more than anything and felt drawn to the forgotten place. One cool afternoon, Imrise slipped through the broken gate and approached the greenhouse. The door creaked as he pushed it open. Inside, the air smelled of old soil and damp stone. He expected to find dead plants, but instead he found tall flowers made entirely of shadow-black petals, dark leaves and stems that shimmered like smoke. Yet the flowers glowed faintly, as if lit from within by invisible stars. Imrise reached to touch one of the shadow flowers. It trembled beneath his fingers, releasing a soft hum that vibrated in the air. Suddenly, shapes rose from the flower, echoes of memories. He saw a woman kneeling in the greenhouse, whispering to the soil. A swirl of shadow formed around her, blooming into flowers that danced gently at her touch. When the vision ended, Imrise staggered back. The shadow flowers were not cursed, they were memories turned into plants. He noticed an old journal on a nearby table. Its pages were brittle, filled with the elegant handwriting of a woman named Elowen. She wrote about creating a garden where memories could take shape, allowing people to store their grief, fears, and hopes in living forms. The darker the emotion, the darker the bloom. Elowen had built the garden to help people heal. But over time, the villagers misunderstood its magic. They grew afraid of the shadows, believing the flowers fed on souls. Fear spread quickly, and people began avoiding the greenhouse. Without anyone tending it, the garden grew wild and restless. As Imrise read more, he felt a pull to restore the garden. He believed the shadow flowers deserved a chance to share their stories. So each day after school, he returned to the greenhouse, watering the plants and trimming dead leaves. The flowers responded with soft glows, their shadows curling gently around him like thankful whispers. But the garden held more than gentle memories. One evening, a massive black bloom pulsed at the center of the room. Its petals shivered violently, releasing a cold wave that made Imrise shudder. When he touched it, a powerful vision swallowed him. He saw Elowen standing before the same monstrous flower, her face pale with sorrow. It held her deepest memory, one she had never shared. A terrible storm had taken her sister's life, and Elowen blamed herself. She poured all her grief into the flower, but the burden was too heavy. The bloom became unstable and dangerous. Elowen tried to destroy it, but the memory was too strong. Unable to fix her mistake, she left the garden and never returned. When the vision faded, Imrise understood the truth. The monstrous flower was not evil. It was a wound that had never healed. Determined to help, he placed his hands on the cold petals and whispered comforting words. He shared his own fears, his loneliness, his longing to understand others. The flower trembled, glowing faintly. Slowly, the monstrous bloom shrank. Its petals softened into calm shadow, no longer violent or cold. In its place grew a delicate black lily that hummed with warmth. The entire greenhouse brightened, as if relieved of a weight that had lingered for decades. The next day, villagers noticed soft lights flickering inside the greenhouse. Curious, they visited and discovered Imrise tending the shadow garden. He'd explained that the flowers were memories, not curses, and that the garden existed to help people let go of pain. Hesitant at first, villagers eventually approached the plants. Some cried, some whispered, and some simply listened. Over time, the greenhouse became a sanctuary. People came to leave their worries, hopes, and secrets. The shadow flowers bloomed in hundreds of shapes and shades, each carrying a voice of the heart. And Imrise, once just a curious boy, became the caretaker of memories, guiding others through the shadows with gentle understanding.